I'm looking at the long-term game. I did 9 years, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to waste another day. You know, I want to live my life every day to the fullest. And for me, I want to do something that has purpose.
Let's get ready to rumble! I am the greatest. I have a dream.
Leg, I'm coming for you.
Got it! Got it!
Is this your shortest fight ever?
I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a bear. I done handcuffed lightning through Indian bed.
Okay, welcome to the VT Ground Zero podcast. We are in season 2 now, and we do have a special guest today. I'm here with Joe Kwon. Did I say that right?
Correct.
Joe Kwon. He is the founder and director of ConFit, a company that is helping inmates find a path or the right path in society. How are you, Joe?
Great, thanks.
Thanks
for inviting me over.
Mate, you've been in and around the VT community of late, doing some great things in the with some inmates, okay, and working with Hamilton and some other boys that are, part of our community. And I thought, what better way to highlight, the achievements that you've got and get some information out to our community about, the good things that you're doing, and see if we can help you, and also how people can benefit from what you're doing, mate. So we're ready to go?
Yeah, so if you haven't already heard, Hamilton, one of your trainers, yes, he has done a bit of time. He's helping us with so he's not part of ConFit, but he's part of our not-for-profit organisation called ConFit Pathways.
Nice.
And what we do is we act as mentors. All the mentors on our organisation have that lived prison experience. And we go into juvenile detention centres and to mentor young people through fitness, around mindset and having a positive outlook on life once they come out of custody.
Yeah, nice. So, mate, just to give people an understanding of your journey, okay, there is a bit of history with yourself. I think it'll be like a good idea to start way back, your upbringing, where you came from, so then people can relate to, your journey and, hopefully make the right decisions for themselves, mate. So tell us a little bit about, where'd you grow up, mate? What's your background?
So my background, South Korean.
Nice.
Mum, I just grew up under a single mum, only child. Mum was an international student. She got a scholarship to come and study at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. She's an opera singer.
Oh, wow.
And I realised at a young age, opera singers don't make much money. So we were always on Struggle Street. We were known as gypsies growing up because we moved around that many times. In 1 year, we moved houses like 12 times. So I've never had a stable upbringing. But majority of the time, we spent in Campsie and Bankstown.
I did some time out there.
Back then was a different place. West, back then was a different place compared to now. It's really gentrified now. But grew up there. There was a heavy culture of gang culture back then.
Sure, everyone.
These days it's all like the postcode things, but with the young kids. But back then, it was very racially segregated.
100%.
So I was really influenced by that because I didn't have any male figures in my life. Didn't have any role models. And the people that I looked up to were the guys that are around me on the street. And just started doing little things here and there, and then
as you do.
And there's a lot of people from broken families kind of gravitate towards each other, and then they become a part of your community. They become your family. And at that time, I thought it was the right thing because that's all I knew at a young age. And
how old are we talking, mate?
So I started hanging out with these guys in like primary school.
Wow.
In primary school.
That's young.
Yeah, I witnessed my first murder in primary school.
Wow.
And then that kind of culture carries on to high school, and when
mate, sorry to cut you off, but that's the kind of stuff like witnessing a murder in primary school. Like that's the kind of stuff you hear, you know, in America.
Yeah.
I've heard it here a little bit, not so much primary school, but mate, like witnessing a murder in primary school is pretty heavy, man.
Yeah, look, you know, everyone's thinking, you know, this kid's going to be traumatized, and
Yeah.
I didn't really, you know, think much about it. You know, I was like, oh, you know, that's the kind of area we live in, and these things happen, you know. And I got to high school, and you know, I ended up becoming part of a gang, and started selling little bits of drugs here
Asian
and there.
gang?
Yeah. I won't mention what gang it was, but
We don't have to mention that. We don't need any
yeah,
retribution.
I was just selling a bit of drugs here and there, taking on all the risk.
Yep.
And you know, I ended up getting kidnapped and bashed, and you know, just, I guess it comes with the game, right? And then I just said to myself, you know, I don't want to take the risk anymore. I think I could do this thing on my own. So at about when I was 19, I ventured off on my own.
Yep.
And then had my own crew, and then you know we drive.
Give your crew a name or?
No, it was just the crew. No, we didn't have a name. We didn't want to bring attention to ourselves.
Smart man.
But you know, at a young age, all I knew was dance parties, underage dance parties, and you know, Eckies and MDMA. You know, I wasn't really, you know, I was old enough to get into the whole coke and heroin scene.
Yeah.
That wasn't our
back then. It wasn't as big as
look,
what it
in
is
Cabramatta and stuff. It was like young kids selling, you know, heroin, but what I was surrounded by was MDMA and ecstasy.
Yeah.
So we were like driving up like hundreds of thousands of ecstasy pills up to schoolies.
Yeah.
The Surface Paradise, driving up 2 weeks before schoolies hit, and then you know, in the first week we run out.
Wow.
Not even for myself.
That's scary, man.
Yeah, man. And I was just like, you know, I'm gonna keep at least 5 for myself, and people were starting to bid, going, "I'll pay you 100
5 or 5,000.
5. And
just to get on it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
You know, and we ran out. That's how fast it went.
Wow,
you know, and that's the kind of life I was living. You know, I got into a lot of violence when I was young because it was my way of lashing out to kind of, you know, the father figure in my life.
You had
kind
to protect yourself, mate.
Rejecting
and
me.
your mum.
Yeah. So, you know, there was a lot of anger built up inside. So in my younger age, I got into a lot of violence. I got a lot of trouble like that. But then towards, you know, after 18, I started abusing the alcohol, the drugs.
Yeah.
You know, my weekend would look like Thursday I'll start partying, and then Saturday I'll wake up. You know, I started partying in Sydney. I'll wake up in Surface Paradise in a hotel going, how the fuck did I get here?
Yeah.
I'll wake up and go, seriously, I don't remember how I got here.
Sure, laugh, mate.
Where am I?
Sounds like The Hangover.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And where did it go south? Like, what happened? Like, was it just did someone roll on you? Did you have issues with other people that got jealous? What was the story?
So we're still young, and you know we're making a lot of cash, and we're just like, what do I do with this money, right?
Yeah.
So it got to the point where it's just like,
have to launder it.
I'm just like giving away cash from my pocket, you know, and I don't know where, no one's counting it or anything. So my cousin goes, look, you know, I know someone who could wash the money for you.
Yeah.
So it's run by this Chinese organization. They have a lot of syndicates bringing them cash, and they launder it through like restaurants and like a lot of cash businesses.
You didn't think of like opening your own business?
Oh man, I had no idea back then.
You didn't think of it?
Back then, you know, you're young, and I'm just thinking, how do I just buy a car legit, you know?
Yeah.
So we went there, and we would just bring these people money, and what they'll do is set up accounts for us, and they'll pay us as consultants or something to a company, and it's all taxed and
everything.
You know, so you pretty much like in the bank account, it's clean money, you know. We're doing that for a while, and we didn't realize that there were all these other syndicates that were doing the same thing that we were doing, and that office was getting monitored. It was getting monitored, and one of my crew members was having an affair with the lady.
Wow.
And while he was having, the dirty business in the office, you know, like when guys get
told everything.
Yeah, he starts telling everything about we got the shipment coming in and everything, and the AFP didn't even know who we were.
You're bringing them in from overseas as well.
Yeah. So they didn't even know who we were, you know. Okay. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, who are these guys?" Let's follow them around, and it didn't take long for an investigation go under, and a couple, I think maybe 6-7 months later.
Yeah.
And I was in Shangri-La. I did a drug deal, and I had like a couple $100,000 cash on the coffee table.
Yeah.
And then I ordered room service, celebrating my business deal. And I remember ordering a big breakfast, and I get a knock on the door, and I'm thinking that it's room service. And I'm telling these guys to come in, and the next thing you know, you got guys in balaclavas and masks. You would have
thought you're getting robbed.
I'm thinking I'm getting robbed, so that's why I threw the cash everywhere. But first thought that came through my mind was, this isn't my breakfast order. I think you got the wrong room.
Egg roll, man.
Yeah. So and then like I said, my mum was an opera singer, right? And she used to always take me to the opera house and watch performances and stuff. So
you were watching opera house from the Shangri-La.
and I've seen opera house Harbour Bridge my whole life, and I was getting hogtied on the floor. I was looking at the floor to ceiling window. I could see the opera house and the Harbour Bridge, and at that moment it was like a movie segment. Everything was in slow mo. I swear I was hearing opera music in my head.
Wow.
And it was the last view of freedom that I saw, and I got sentenced to 13 years in prison.
What did they charge you with, mate?
2 counts of supplying large commercial quantities of MDMA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And did they kind of pin you as the head of it or anything?
Yeah, I went down as the syndicate leader.
Syndicate leader.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
Just turned 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mate, my son's younger. My son's pretty much that age, man. My son's 22, but yeah, man, that's
it's
pretty wild, man.
Different life back then. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, mate. But you know what? Like in saying that, there's boys running around doing similar things now, and hopefully
100%.
hopefully this message gets to them and they put their heads in, mate. Because you're never safe in that game. You're either going to get robbed, you're going to get hurt, or you're going to get locked up. So
but more than that, I guess it's more ignorance for the young kids.
Yeah.
I was 21 and I had a chip on my shoulder, thinking I'll rule the world kind of thing. That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
You got your entourage with you all the time, and then I went to jail. Then I realized
13 years you got sentenced to.
Yeah, got 13 years, but 9 years in prison. Okay. So 4 years parole.
9 on the bottom, was
9
it?
on the bottom, yeah.
Wow.
So I went to jail, and you get everything stripped away from you, and that's with everyone, Yeah. At the end of the day, when you get everything stripped away from you, what do you have when you don't have money, when you don't have family? Who are you?
Yeah.
And I realized
you're just a number.
And I realized I'm an uneducated kid with no life experience, no family support, and all the friends that I thought were friends, my entourage, they're all gone.
Did they get done too?
You know who your true friends are when you go to jail. No one wants to be around you because you're red hot.
Yeah.
And I just started to realize, it's that life's kind of not. It's very shallow.
Hard, big time.
Yeah, it is
big
very
time.
shallow. Yeah.
Did your mates get locked up as well?
So I had 9 other co-offenders going with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got the biggest whack.
Yeah.
Okay. And how was your time, mate? Like, what was obviously 13 years, 9 years actually. 9 years for anyone is a long time. Obviously there would have been ups and downs in jail. How was your mindset in there, mate? Like, obviously, for most people, thinking you're getting your freedom stripped away from you, looking at the opera house, as it like a probably deja vu kind of thing, as you're getting arrested, it would be pretty tough to keep your spirits high, mate, throughout your time, 9 years.
Yeah. So when I first got arrested and when I went to jail, my mentality was, I'm going to be a career criminal. I'm looking at a long time.
Yeah.
This is all I know. I might as well try to be the best that I can being a career criminal.
Yeah.
And I started speaking to all these so-called drug lords, right? They're meant to be like the 007s of the drug world,
James
right?
Bond, eh?
Oh man, the stuff they're doing with submarines, helicopters, and
really, they are actually
next level. They're jumping off planes.
Are they just bullshit artists in the jail? Or they're actually getting done for this?
I have people confirming the stuff that they were doing, and
that's like Operation Odessa.
But they're still in jail, And I asked them you guys are meant to be these 007s. What are you guys doing in jail? And they were all like, well, there's no guarantee.
Nah.
And I was like, man, I don't know if I can do another 9 years. This is a bit too much. So I had a good look at myself and look around everyone in the yard, and the common denominator for why everyone was in prison was the lack of education. And I dropped out of school in year 10, and I realized I'm part of the statistic as well.
Yep.
You know, so I wanted to do something different with my life. I just didn't know how. And I ended up reading this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh yeah,
you know?
what's his name?
Robert Kiyosaki talks, and in the book he talks about, you know, the language of business is through accounting, right?
Definitely.
And I'm like, you know
Need to know
what,
your
you know
numbers.
what, you know what, I'm Asian, I should be good with my numbers, right? I'm not. I'm missing some chromosome. I'm the only Asian in the world that can't do maths,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, so I read this book and it talks about accounting. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this accounting thing.
Yeah.
So I went to the prison library, got myself a first year university accounting textbook,
Wow.
an old one. Tried to study it myself. I opened it. As soon as I opened it, I'm looking at hieroglyphics.
Yeah, oh mate,
Yeah.
I just got anxiety thinking
I'm
about all these
I'm
numbers.
sweating, going, I can't do this, right? But call it fate.
Yeah.
You know, I ended up meeting this guy in the yard. He got done for Australia's largest tax fraud.
Oh
right?
wow.
So he's a billionaire. Background is accounting. He's
Billionaire from ripping people off, or he's a billionaire anyway?
He's a billionaire. So he was a partner at Ernst & Young.
Oh wow.
Then he went off into the mining industry,
Yeah.
and he made millions and millions, hundreds of millions in mining. Started his own pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
And when you get to that level, it gets a bit dodgy, you
Yeah.
know? Anyway, I won't go into that, but I ended up meeting this guy, and everyone's trying to extort this guy because all they heard was
They're all trying to put on it,
yeah, he's a
He's got
billionaire,
money,
he's
mate.
got money, right? I'm not that kind of guy, but all I heard was he's an accountant. So I went up to him, I was like, hey mate, you wouldn't want to teach me accounting, would you? And you know, you got the protection of the boys.
Yeah.
So we ended up
Was he
becoming
Asian?
No, he's white. He's
He
Caucasian.
they didn't look after him in there.
And we all looked after him only
The
because
Asian boys?
he was my cellmate.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
So we became
Oh,
cellies.
so he became he
Yeah,
was
so
your
I put-
cellmate by
I-
fate, or did you like?
I
hit
put him
up?
in. Yeah, I put him into
Okay.
my cell. And
Yeah.
I was like, right, now we're cellies, you're going to teach me accounting every night.
Yeah.
Right? So it started off, our relationship started off like that. So me kind of putting it on him to teach me accounting.
You was,
But we became really good friends.
Yeah.
He's a genuine person, and
Yeah.
you know, he became my first positive mentor. And you know, we all need mentors.
Yeah.
And it's ironic how I met my first positive mentor in a prison cell.
Yeah.
You know, and
mate, there's a lot of good people in jail.
Mate,
you know,
there is.
they've made one or two, or you know,
Yeah.
several silly mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But mate, just because they're locked up doesn't mean
Yeah.
they're bad people. They just
100%.
done
Yeah.
some wrong things. You know.
So he taught me about, you know, business. He taught me about accounting.
Yeah.
He taught me about the value of education, and most importantly, he taught me about self-worth, which was the greatest takeaway that I could ever take. You know.
Yep.
And through that, you know, I got into university when I was in jail. Still studying that now.
What do you do? Is by correspondence?
Yeah,
or how
man,
do you do it?
I did my HSC in jail.
Okay.
Did my HSC, and then I went through correspondence. So
Yeah.
they send out material for you, and you do it, and you send it back.
Is it in? I may be naive, but doing uni in jail, if you haven't done your HSC, can you do uni?
You got to go
they-
through like a bridging course.
They give you some exemption because you're locked up, or
No,
There's
none
there's
of that. You got to do like a bridging course, which is
Okay.
kind of like, you know, doing your not HSC, but you got to do your maths and English. You got to be at a certain level.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. So I did that, and you know, today we're still friends.
that's good.
Yeah.
And so what was the turning point? Obviously, you know, you've come from this life where all you know is the boys, you know, drugs, you know, making money. You know, I can relate to or know a lot of people that are just all about, or they're money makers, mate. You know, and you're gonna come out of jail and either go back to that and try and make money as an earner, or try and start fresh.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like where was it? Where was the like the you know, the light bulb moment, mate?
Look, it depends really, you know, what your values are at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are financially driven, which I was
Yeah.
growing up, because I really didn't have money. My family didn't have money, and financial motivation was the greatest motivation for me.
Yeah, obviously with your mum as well.
Yeah. But you know, you do nearly a decade in jail, and you get to experience, like, think about life, right? What really matters. You know, you had everything stripped away from you. You've got nothing. All you have is yourself and pretty much your thinking in your cell, you know. And
Yeah.
I realized that, you know, family is a huge part. The community that you have around you, you know, who do you spend your time with? You know, you can have all the money in the world, but if you have no one around you, what a sad life that is.
100%.
You know? And for me, it was about doing something that had purpose. You know, making money may make you feel good for short term, but for me, I'm looking at the long term game. I did 9 years, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to waste another day. You know, I want to live my life every day to the fullest. You know, and you know, for me, I want to do something that has purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't really think about this whole ConFit thing until towards the end of my sentence, where I realized that in jail, you know, you form camaraderie with the boys through training, you know.
Yeah.
And you know that, you know, Violet Turtle has one of the best communities I've seen with the fitness groups, you know.
I love it.
It's amazing what you've created here, you know. Yeah. And, you know, community is such a huge aspect, and we had that community in jail. And I wanted to help not just myself, but the boys as well.
Yeah.
And that's all I knew how to do, you know. I wasn't really a fitness guy before I went to jail, and when I got to jail, you meet a lot of people who know a lot about fitness. You know, you meet people who are former like bodybuilders or, you know, who've been in the boxers, been in the fitness game for a long time. So there's a lot of raw fitness knowledge that gets passed down from generation to generation. And I was just this young kid, just eager to learn. And you know, we've got no diet, like nutrition in there. You know, all we have is like canned tuna. I was eating six cans of tuna, but a day just to get my protein intake. You know,
tuna now.
No, never. I'll eat fresh tuna, not canned tuna. But it's you in there. You learn. You got to do with what you have. You know, these days in society, there's an excess of too many things. But at the end of the day, you just got to keep it simple, and keeping it simple works. And you know, when you're in jail, right? What do you eat? There's not much protein in there, right? Yeah. So ask the boys. I used to make these protein shakes. We used to call it vomit shakes. Like egg powder with sardines and milk, right? And I used to shake that up in a bottle, and I used to drink that. You know,
it tastes like shit,
mate. For me, it wasn't food. It was sustenance. It was nutrition for me to grow. You know, and a lot of the boys bulk up in there because you know they eat a lot of high calories. You know, like noodles and stuff, and they eat a lot of tuna, and they train like twice a day. They train pretty hard.
What else have you got to do to get your mind off things?
Exactly. How do you kill time besides training and reading books?
Or get on, you know, the bupe or heroin
get on drugs,
which is, you know, like, I think the weak way out.
That is a weak way out, you know. Yeah.
And now you've come out, okay, and what was like the tipping point? Where did ConFit actually start? Was it just an idea? Did it you know, did you just start training some mates and just come up with this name? How did it happen, man?
So the name, so I had this idea to create like a fitness business. It was a joke though. It started inside jail because we used to train with water bottles in there, because in jail, not like the movies. You know, in the movies you see these big guys pumping weights and stuff like that. That's all bullshit. Yeah. You don't have weights in jail. All you have is pull-up bar and a dip bar, and you've got pretty much the boys you use as weights. You know, you've got the guys jumping on your back to do squats and your back-to-back push-ups to create more resistance. And we had these like detergent bottles that we used to fill up with water, and we used to use that as weights. You know, and so at one point there was so many bottles in the wing. We used to go, hey, how funny would it be if we created a gym on the outside that uses bottles only? We would call it bottles first, you know? It was like an internal joke.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really thought about it. I was like, there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of jail. And I was like, why don't we do this on the outside, you know? There was no name thought about it or anything, but one of the boys he's deceased now, ended up getting knocked, but he gave me the name called ConFit. He goes, why don't you call it ConFit? I was like, oh, that's hectic, you know, it's convict fitness, ConFit. I didn't realize that ConFit is also pronounced confi. It's like duck fat, you know, the foodies.
Oh yeah. There you go.
It's like all the foodies like this. So when you're starting up,
ConFit.
It's like a confi. So when you type up ConFit, all the duck fat comes out, and I'm on the Google page. I'm like 415, you know.
You have to put a dash in.
Like you can't even put. If you put a dash in, Google penalizes you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So what do you do? You can't spell it different.
Yeah, and so I call it convict fitness. Like ConFit has a more ring to it, but it's called convict fitness. But yeah, so I came out. I just started training with just a bunch of mates, and I used to go, hey, you know, if your friends want to come down, you know, so I was working at that time and studying, and just in the evenings I was running these like little friendly boot camps, and it started growing. Yeah, it started growing and growing, and then someone's like, you should really turn this into a business. Yeah, and then that's how the idea came about, and then ended up opening up Redfern, running boot camps there, and then now
just in the park.
Yeah, just in the park, man. For me, park works with the type of training that we do.
You've been doing it body weight for 9 years, and you can definitely get results. And I'm sure people that train at our gym or any gym, when they see no equipment out on the floor, they know that they're gonna get hammered because the body weight's fucking harder.
It's hard. Anything. It is hard.
It's hard, man. And okay, so you've come and you've opened ConFit.
Yeah.
You've got a small group, and like now I've seen recently I spoke to Hammy and yourself, and you're starting to get like some real traction with it. You got offered, or you've come from a background of being a director of a criminal syndicate to now a director of a social enterprise. Okay, that's helping people that have come out of jail. To kind of come gel with society again. And you've just recently done a photo shoot with Men's Health magazine. You've also got awarded a decent sized grant. Where to now? Like what are your aspirations, and how are you actually, first of all, how are you helping the people, the convicts coming out of jail to gel back in, mate?
So, mate, I didn't even know what a social enterprise was. So
neither did I. I just asked him before. I say, Joe, what the fuck is a social enterprise? He explained it now. I just thought I'd sound smart on you.
I have no idea. I had no idea as well. I went to uni. So this is the funny story, right? So this is the beauty about human connection, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to uni, and
is this after you're out?
1 month after coming out, I went straight to UNSW. Wow. Right? So I got accepted, went to UNSW. The first subject that I did was called creating social change. Right? So that's what the course is called, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the lecture, and the lecturer is talking about rate of reincarceration, homelessness, the disadvantaged societies in Australia. And I was like, I understand all this kind of stuff. I kind of lived it.
Yep.
And I kind of approached the lecturer after the lecture. I went, hey, great lecture, by the way. My name is Joe. I just came out of jail. And she was just looking at me going, what the fuck?
She's probably thought you were going to steal her bag.
No. She's like, are you even a student in my class? I was like, yeah, I just got out of jail last month. But I'm a first year student. And she was just like, okay. I was like, I wanted to talk to you about a business idea that I have about, ex-inmates being fitness trainers. So she introduced me to an organization called Center for Social Impact, which is based in UNSW.
Yeah.
And they fund a lot of projects and stuff that have social impact in Australia. And they put me onto as a case study of an MBA program, and they had MBA students helping me to formulate what ConFit is today, which is a social enterprise.
Yeah.
And what a social enterprise is, it's the same as a normal enterprise, a normal company, but we divert a lot of our profits back into the social cause, into the social cause. And our social cause is to reduce recidivism through fitness. And through that, we started a not-for-profit called ConFit Pathways, two different entities. But the funny story is that, remember that lecturer that I approached the first time? She is now a board member about not-for-profit. So
but you got some high level.
Yeah, so it's like come full circle, and we've had great support, and now what we're trying to do is have guys coming out of prison and we mentor them to
adults and kids,
just adults at the moment. We mentor them to become mentors for the kids. And when the kids come out, they're part of our community, and they get supported by us.
By training?
So training is always what we do. Okay. So all our mentors are trainers.
Yep.
And what we do is, we have a positive community for these guys. And whether they want to go down a pathway of work or employment or education. So we've got a partnership with UNSW where kids who want to go to uni, they get full scholarship, campus accommodation.
Wow.
And
how good's that,
supported.
Man? That's awesome, man. That's giving them something like some real hope when they get out.
And also even giving them job experience. A lot of kids coming out with Cert 3, Cert 4s, you know, and, you know, Hammy's been a real good mentor, and a lot of the boys look up to Hammy as well, because he's such a good character, right?
He's awesome, man. Everyone like he's probably the the favorite trainer amongst all three gyms, you know.
So all the boys, you know, they want to come out and they want to train with Hammy, and you know, and Hammy will take him under his wings, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Valatura, they could get some work experience here as well.
Bring them on, man.
And I couldn't think of a better community for these young kids to do their work experience, because I think your community at VT would be so accepting of something like this.
I think we're very non-judgmental, and
100%.
mate, I'll welcome anyone with open arms if they want to have a go, mate.
Yeah.
We don't you know, discriminate at all. You see all colours, religions, you know, shapes, sizes, you know, in here, and mate, it'd be an honour. Where was I going to go next? So, fucking stuck, man.
It happens, man. It happens.
So you're impacting. Okay, people are coming out of jail. Okay, now you're also going into the jails. So what are you running in the jails with the kids? Like, are you mentoring them, or is it just pure training as well?
It is a mentoring program.
Yep.
Training is what we do. So it's a 9-week program.
Yep.
So we run training sessions for them. So it can be anything from boxing to body weight. You know, we absolutely smash them.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's always about trying to change their perception on life. So I developed something called the G code. You know, inmates and, you know, the boys in the hood, we live by a certain code, right? You know, code of silence, you know, your word is your bond, and, you know, if you've been in the game, you kind of know what the code is, right?
Yeah.
And all the young boys, they know as well, but I teach them to live by a new code, and that is through the G code, which stands for gratitude, goal settings, and being grounded.
Yeah, nice.
And
like that.
this is a mindset. This is a mindset hack. And
Mind if I steal it?
No, you could take it, but make sure to reference ConFit. No, but you know this. I developed this when I was kind of. I didn't give it a name, but I developed this when I was in jail. It comes from life experience as well. How do you stay positive?
Mate, you need to give gratitude.
Yeah, man. You know, when I was in jail, you're in the most negative place, one of the most negative places on earth. You know, you're surrounded by lunatics, you know, officers treating you like shit. The whole environment is just putrid, right?
Built to break you.
Yeah, it is designed to try to break you, you know.
Yeah.
But I was the guy that used to laugh every day, having the time of my life, you know. Training was a great avenue for me to be able to do that, because, you know, through training endorphins, all that kind of stuff. But then, you know, that's 2 hours in the day. What about the rest of the time? You know, and you know, when you have everything taken away from you, you realize that, you know, the small things really matter. You know, and I take that. You know, remember I told you I had that billionaire mentor that he was never happy. He's a billionaire.
Miserable.
He's got all the money in the world, but he's not happy. Yeah. And I realized, you know, it doesn't matter if you got all the money in the world. If you're not grateful for $1, you're not going to be grateful for $1 million.
100%.
You know? And that's gratitude, and that's the first step to become positive, you know, in the mind. Second one is goal setting, but I looked at it as hope. You know, when you're in jail, you're always looking forward to having a better life on the outside, doing things on the outside, and you have to prepare yourself, and I had to keep on setting goals. You know, and for me, moving forward is what keeps it positive. The moment you stop, you're stagnant.
It drives me crazy.
Fucking depressed. You got to always move forward, whether it's through fitness, life, relationships. You got to always move forward, right? So that's the second part, and the third part is being grounded. And for me, what that means is when I was inside, I used to compare myself with everyone on the outside. They're all moving ahead in life, families, work, you know, traveling around, but I'm stuck in prison, you know, going nowhere. And to compare myself with everyone, it was toxic to my soul. You know, I was getting so depressed, and that's what society is these days. Social media, everyone's comparing each other, comparing with each other. You know, you've got this, but I don't have this. You know, and it is toxic. You know, and so I stopped comparing myself with everyone on the outside, and I wanted to do the best that I could. You know, I'm running my own race, so it's just to be the best that you can in any moment. And I tell the boys inside there, I was like, right now, training session, do the best that you can, and don't regret this session. You know, don't regret saying I could have put another 10% in, you know? And that's the kind of mindset that we teach these young boys, and also about self-confidence and self-belief and all that, and we talk to them about the value of education and employment, why you should get employed, or why you should go down education and where that leads to, because a lot of these kids, they don't know the why in what they do.
Probably coming from the block, or some pretty rough neighbourhoods and areas, and don't know any better, mate.
But if they understand the why, that's
Definitely.
with everything. They can make that decision.
Where it all starts. Isn't it?
And as mentors with lived experience, we tell them these things, and they start to listen.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and that's a 9-week program that we run inside in Juvie. Yeah. And by the end of the 9 weeks, these guys are like, they become like family, and when they come out, they come and train with you, and it's an awesome thing. Yeah,
that's good, man. Yeah, I love it, man. That's awesome, Joe. And statistics, like are there statistics on reincarceration rates for kids and for adults? And then, like, do you have something that you're actually working towards? Like, is there like a North Star?
Yeah. So at the moment, with adults, 54% will return back to prison within the first 12 months.
54%.
Yeah. And it's costing $113,000 a year to lock up one adult inmate in Australia. $113,000. Imagine trying to earn $113,000 in a legit job, right? So that's taxpayers' money, right?
Wow.
Now, this is what's going to spin you out. With young offenders or juvie kids, 10 to 17-year-olds, so 80% will return within the first 12 months. 80%.
Well, there's obviously... Mate, that's massive.
Yeah.
There's obviously like no rehabilitation in there. They're just like chucking them in there, punish them without kind of giving them a second chance.
And do you know how much it's costing to house one young person? $511,000. Over $500,000
for 1 year.
1 year for one young person.
Wow. $500,000.
More than $500,000. Yeah.
What are they fucking feeding them? Lobster every day. Mate, send me in there.
So I don't know what they're doing or where the money's going.
Yeah.
But all I know is
sounds like a rort, to be honest.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But our intentions are good.
Are you trying to work? Is there like, are you trying to come across Australia like a national and then obviously bring those percentages down? Is there something that you're 100%. Trying to get to?
So we want to have the people that are coming onto our program.
Yeah.
So we want to have an 80% success rate of young people not returning back
out of your program.
Out of our program.
Do they choose whether they want to jump in your program when they're in there?
So a lot of them get referred.
Yep.
We have a good relationship with the centres.
Yep.
And with all the case officers and with the psychs, so they'll refer them to our program.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, some of these kids can't come onto the program because they've got non-associations with different inmates.
Yep.
Or they just get moved around to different centres where we don't run the programs at that time.
Okay.
But it's unfortunate. But what we really want to do, is keep on getting more funding, grow the team, go into more regional centres, go into state, and in the space of 5 years, we want to be in every state and territory running these programs.
Good on you, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Like I knew like a base level of what you guys were about, but I definitely didn't know like the depth of what you guys are doing. And after seeing what kind of traction you're getting, I knew that there was something deeper, and that's why I wanted to get you on the show, mate. And is there anything that like our listeners or our viewers can do? Is there anything that they can, or how can anyone help ConFit? Is there any other way to help ConFit if you're not part of it? At the moment?
100%. So look, at the end of the day, one of our missions is to help directly the people coming out of custody.
Yep.
But another thing that we want to achieve is there's a lot of negative stigma associated with boys or girls coming out of custody in society. And what we want to do is break down that society. That's why we created ConFit, to be a bridge between those two worlds.
Yep.
To break down any kind of negative stereotyping. And like I said, you guys, VT has an awesome community, tight-knit community, And for you guys to support us is, if we do bring the boys down, from time to time, we come down with the boys to train and everything.
Yeah.
And the reason why we do that is, a lot of these young kids or even adults who are coming out custody, they've never been around positive communities like this.
Yeah.
You know, they're only used to a certain type of culture. And
they have to put on a front and you know, act a certain way.
And a lot of these people, they want to make that change. You know, that's why they join us, because they want to make that change. And I guess it's a great opportunity for them to meet, you know, really positive-minded people at VT, and that your community who's really welcoming, which will really start to open them up, you know, to gain that confidence, so for them to be able to reintegrate. And everyone talks about reintegration, but what does that ever mean, you know?
Yeah.
There's no reintegration if society doesn't accept it. Yeah, there is no reintegration. And I think that's the biggest thing what Vale Tudo community can do for us is, you know, if we do come down with the boys one day, to just be really inviting and just give them a go, high fives, and, you know. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they're doing that already. You've been in a few sessions.
They are, 100%.
I got no doubt that, you know, everyone will react that way, because I believe in what we've done. It started a few years ago, breaking down those walls when, you know, you get this big, you know, Tongan guy, for example, comes in with tattoos all over him, and you got this little frail, you know, 50-year-old lady standing next to him, and he turns and smiles at her and shakes it. You know, it breaks the ice.
It's beautiful
and,
to see
and
that, yeah.
I love that. I love the way that we've, you know, we've kept it going, and it's come from the kind of community that we've built with our staff, and it just filtered down, and it's been awesome, man.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
Look, Joe, I think we'll leave it there, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to stop and stutter again. But mate, you know, guys, if you see Joe around the gym, if you see any of the boys, make sure you know, give them a high five, say g'day, make them feel welcome, and you know, let's keep this community pumping. And if anyone knows anyone that does need any help, that has been, you know, in trouble, or, you know, struggling to get reintegrated in society, mate, maybe they can reach out to you, Joe.
100%.
And yeah, if you like the episode, guys, if you got some education out of it, any value, please like and share it. Please follow us on YouTube and on Instagram and Facebook and on Spotify. Joe from ConFit, thanks for coming, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Legend.
I have a dream.
Leg, I'm coming for you.